Hello and welcome to the Sisters for Fitness Wellness Show. I'm Stephanie Gaines-Bryant. Our guest today is Dr. Madea Allen, and she's a doctor of oriental medicine. We're going to talk about getting healthy holistically. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me today.
So, I found you because I was looking for people who deal with cooking, nutrition, but in a soulful way, where you can eat the things that we grew up maybe eating, but you can prepare them in a way that, you know, is healthy for you. But in reading about you, you are so much more than that. You do so much more. So tell us about yourself.
Sure. So I'm Dr. Madea Allen. I'm a teacher, a way shower, and a facilitator of full spectrum health. So I teach families how to create real health insurance through daily healthy habits. And so since 2005, I've owned and operated Organic Soul Chef, which is a multimodality holistic health practice, and through which I share tools to inspire people to take action, to prioritize their wellness, to reclaim balance, and to live well and to be well. And so Organic Soul Chef's mission, or its vision, first of all, is to transform family health globally, one kitchen at a time. And our mission is to facilitate family healing and empowerment through sustainable lifestyle education and body, mind, spirit wellness modalities.
So you've got families and you've got different personalities. You've got mother or father, or two mothers, two fathers, and the children all have different things that they like, things that they don't like. How do you get everyone on the same page?
Oh, I love that challenge. That's finding the common denominator, excuse me. And the common denominator is going to have your basic good nutrition. So what is good nutrition?
Yes.
Good nutrition, first of all, is wholesome food. It's food from the earth. It's food that's free of chemicals and artificial flavors and colors. It's the food that comes from the earth that you can see. It doesn't have tons of ingredients. It's an apple, it's kale, it's whole grains, it's leafy vegetables, it's root vegetables, it's animals that have been raised humanely. So it's the food that we need to keep our earth temples going.
But it's not all vegetarianism. You don't have to become a vegetarian.
No, that's not appropriate for everybody, but I always promote eating plant-based as much as possible because that's where we're going to get our variety of vitamins, minerals, and full spectrum ingredients that we need to sustain health.
We're all busy. Everybody's got their jobs, their families to deal with. What do you say to people who say that's too much work? I have to cook all the time. I have to go to the grocery store all the time.
Yes, you know, it's really about having the proper system in place. And so 10 years ago, I actually created a system called Holistic Kitchen Revival. And it's really to inspire people to understand that the kitchen is a place of healing. It's a place of transformation. And when you have that key system, like we have financial systems in place, we have like what we're gonna dress in place, you know, we have all these systems, but having a system in terms of nutrition and good meal production is really key. So I understand that not everybody's time is you know, agreeable to creating like everything from scratch every day, but again, having the proper system in place. And I can walk you through that if you want.
What are some essentials
Yeah.
that you have to have in your kitchen to get that family to the place of wellness?
Yeah, so first of all, it's identifying the roadblocks. It's eliminating these invisible blocks that keep us from going into the kitchen, like that thing of I don't have the time, or I don't have the money, you know, or cooking is too hard. Like, where are these ideas coming from, right? So eliminating procrastination in the sense that what is keeping me from getting in that kitchen is doing what I have to do. Because there's a lot of mental chatter that comes in play when we want to do something, right? Mm-hmm. So then your next step is you're going to have setting up your kitchen for success, having the right tools, right? Having a good knife. It starts with a good knife and a cutting board.
A good knife.
A good knife and a cutting board, pots, pans, you know, proper bowls, just having the actual tools. If you go to a dentist, you want to see the dentist having the tools they need to do the filling and the extraction, right? So it's having just the right things you need to actually prepare, right? Your kitchen needs to be free of clutter. People have items in their kitchen that they're not even using. It just sits there for like, I don't know what sake.
It's like decoration.
Yeah, but it's clutter if you're not using it.
Yes.
So when you step into a kitchen, you want to have it be a place where it's like, you can breathe. And it's an easy place of meal production. If things are in the way that you're not using, you have to clear it out. So it's almost like, you know, spring cleaning or clearing things that don't work for you, having things that you need to get the job done. I
remember I had like an egg cooker on the counter for years. I don't even eat eggs like that.
Right.
This egg cooker. I had a juicer. Mm-hmm. And I'd rather use my Vitamix. Mm-hmm. So that sat there. Yep. And it was just like, and you're so used to it being there that you don't even know why it's sitting there.
Exactly. So that's what I mean by just really getting to what's holding you back. Because honestly, when we have clutter, it prevents us from showing up. You know, it kind of is like a repellent because it just gets in the way energetically. So you want to make a place that feels like it has flow, right? You want your kitchen to feel like you can flow. So once you have set it up for success in terms of the appliances and the little tools you need, then you want to become the expert. And what I mean by this is really getting a handle on the nutrition that works for you, your body, and what you need culturally, your blood type. You know, if you are a lactating mom versus a star athlete, the diet's going to look different. So becoming the expert means understanding good nutrition, what I just spoke about, and diving a little deeper. Right? And then once you have become that expert, and that's an ongoing process. This system is always ongoing because we are dynamic beings who are changing all the time. But once you have a good handle on what you need in this moment, in this season, on what to eat, then it's time to have fun with maximizing flavor, learning about aromatics, seasonings, right? How to make food taste amazing.
Because most people just, you know, you get out the salt, the pepper, you just experiment. Mm-hmm. And you don't really know what works with what. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you're not willing to try. How do you get to that place?
Well, I teach a lot of cooking classes. I actually have a free monthly virtual cooking club. I invite people to just come on in for one Sunday out of the month and just see what's amazing to eat, you know, in the season, or what do you do with kale, or what can we do in the summer months to stay cool. So always be educating yourself, and you want to just take it slow in terms of training your palate. Get a seasoning you've never heard of and just put a little on a little spoon and taste it and see what happens. You have to develop a personal relationship with seasonings and herbs and spices to see how it really interacts, right, with your body, mind, and spirit. So
what's good for the fall?
Well, right now we're talking about pumpkin spice everything, right?
And you know, I love it.
Yeah, me too. So, but really those warming spices are great right now because they're going to help stimulate our immunity. They're going to keep us warm. They're going to increase our digestion. But things like cinnamon, clove, cardamom, I mean, these are just the wonderful aromatics that help us keep warm in these temperatures that are getting a little cooler right now.
How do you know how much to put in what, or do you just experiment?
So me, I'm a big experimenter. For me, the kitchen is like a blank canvas, and I just love to just go for it. But when I'm experimenting, if you put too much of something, it might ruin it. So I just go a little at a time, and I cook from soul. And what I mean by that is I cook from my insides. I cook from the highest part of me. Soul, I see, is just the biggest part of who we are. That's like our spirit. And so it's very intuitive process when I cook. I'm led by what flavor we're in. I'm led by if I have a little ailment I need to, you know, address. Do I have a little gas, or is my period coming? You know, that's gonna guide me on how I'm cooking. But for me, it's just, I'm a sensual person. So the flavors of something, the smell, when I go to a farmer's market, I get excited about the colors. So a farmer's market is a great place to help you to eat locally and in season, because their farmers are going to be bringing in what they're actually growing. you know, for the particular region and currently what's happening now.
In your cooking classes, do you teach people to be more intuitive when it comes to?
Yes, absolutely. And I feel like that's what becoming the expert is you knowing, becoming a master of you, right? There's so much information about nutrition. You can go to a website that, you know, says you need to be a vegan, or go to a website you need to eat fish, you need to eat this, eat that. There's so much information, and we're not starved on information. What we're starved on is our connection to our bodies and what we really need for our own healing. And it may look a little different from the next person. And that kind of comes from my training when I studied nutrition at the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, learning about bio-individuality. And that really is respecting, again, like your particular genetics, your makeup, you know, like who you are inside, and just really respecting and honoring that. Like,
is there any connection between who you are culturally, if you're African American, for example, what your needs may be opposed to someone of Latino descent?
Yeah, yes and no, because I feel like we have that linkage of coming from the continent, right? So when you can eat Latin, when I eat Latin food and then I'll eat Caribbean food, I always see the commonalities. Like, we're both eating plantain, we're both eating rice and beans, right? We're eating some form of curry. Yeah, it's very interesting. So, but there is a thing where you're eating what your ancestors ate for your health. So I'm an ambassador for the African Heritage Diet from Old Ways. Is an organization that really promotes the idea of eating for your heritage for better health. Because here's the thing, again, genetics, like how our gut is formed is based on our genetics. So eating what our grandmothers and great-great-grandmothers ate is going to be an easier time for us to digest, because we have that gut, right? That gut makeup that is like our forefathers' gut, and it helps us to digest food better. Does that make sense? Yeah, I mean,
that's interesting.
It really is. Like, so for instance, a lot of people who come from different cultures who come to America and they start eating the standard American diet and they become unwell. Or you see cultures where they're now inviting more of the corporations in terms of the Pizza Huts and the McDonald's, not bashing them, but you see more of those restaurant chains, and then their health and wellness of the population is declining because of this. So, you know, really eating according to the land, according to our ancestors, is going to help us to fare better health-wise.
Before we run out of time, I want to make sure I mention the fact that you are an acupuncturist.
Yes.
As well. How does that fit into the whole practice of eating well and taking care of a family as a whole? Yes,
I mean, it definitely falls in line. I'm always daily practicing, or teaching my patients how to practice good nutrition. As an acupuncturist, I'm giving them homework when they come out of the treatment room of, you know, drink more water, do some Qigong exercises. But nutrition, these things are going to really help the treatments last longer. So, you know, it's about, you know, my big thing is eating a good breakfast. And so that
a lot of people skip. My husband skips breakfast.
Yeah.
And it is so important in getting your day off to a good start. You don't have to do the whole pancakes, bacon, and egg thing.
No,
no. But you got to put something in your system.
Yeah, and so I love that I studied Chinese medicine and Chinese nutrition therapy, because it just gave me an extra layer of how to teach nutrition, a different lens through which to see nutrition. So, you know, I can't show up and not talk about nutrition. So in the treatment room, I'm always asking, what did you have to eat today? You know, and what does breakfast look like? So most of my patients.
What should breakfast look like?
Well, see, I love this question, because for me, as an acupuncturist, we teach about in the morning, the stomach, and the stomach being like the important organ to focus on. The energy of the stomach in health is highest from 7 to 9 a.m. So the stomach, after fasting during the night, is ready to receive nutrition. So the stomach likes warm, wet, cooked breakfast, like a porridge. So I am always, most of my patients have my little handout on how to prepare congee, as we call it in the, Chinese medicine world, or just a porridge. And it's, very hydrating, and it has whole grains, and let that be the base. You can add protein to it, but, you're really ready to hydrate in the morning. You can make it sweet, you can make it savory, but we, as a culture, think that smoothies are the best thing in the morning, and they are. I would not say smoothies first thing in the morning. If you have to have a smoothie, just warm it. Like, you can have blended up fruits and veggies, but have that warming aspect, because the temperature of the body is important for all metabolic processes. So when a person is too cold, there's so many issues that can arise from that. So our nutrition is almost like a furnace. We have to, warm the stomach so that it can metabolize and do what it needs to do.
So what should we be eating for lunch?
Lunch.
Or do you believe in more of the snacking, doing small meals per day, or breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
Yeah, so for some that's appropriate. And again, I really work with people on an individual basis. That's the practitioner in me. I can't say this is the best for everybody. But I feel that when you're eating lunch, I tend to have a larger lunch than my dinner. And it's so interesting. I traveled to Brazil in college, and that was the lunch was the main meal. People took a couple of hours off from work and school to come home and eat lunch with their families. And then they had a little break, and then they went back to work. It was so fascinating. And dinner was very light. So I kind of picked that up, because I didn't grow up like that. But I feel like having this huge meal right before bedtime is not the best thing. So,
does your body need that warmth for lunch and dinner, or is that more of a breakfast thing? The body temperature kind of needing to be nourished in a certain way.
I think that warmth focus is especially important in the mornings, and then just understanding what you're needing, because some people are actually overheated, so having more cooling foods for lunch and dinner could be appropriate for them. It's really, again, understanding where you are and what your needs are. But plenty of vegetables and grain and whatever protein works for you, whether it's beans or fish or chicken, just keeping it interesting, and don't be in a food rut. People get so tired of eating the same thing over and over again, and that just comes from, again, having the proper planning. As I spoke about my system, creating a meal plan that's going to work for you and keep you out of a food rut.
A meal plan that'll work for the entire family.
Oh yes, and it's possible, because it's like you're having the pieces that each person can go in and kind of combine those pieces how they will. You can have a grain, you can have some vegetables, you can have a few proteins. And so one person in the family would say, today maybe I want the fish and the quinoa, and the kale, but the next person oh no, maybe I want spinach. You can just have your basic components, but allow each family member to season the way they want. Even you can dash the curry on yours, or no, I want to add the Burberry on mine. I want mine to taste like Latin. So again, having all components there. It's almost like a taco bar. How when you go to a little taco bar and you have the different items you can build your own with, getting in that kind of mentality would help.
What should we be telling our children about nutrition in this fast food world?
Yeah.
Because I know one of the main things, I never wanted my kids to eat a lot of fast food, so I cooked. They're all grown now, so I don't cook quite as much, but I did the greens and the baked chickens, and I tried to give them real food, but a lot of times parents are busy and they're stopping at McDonald's on nothing against McDonald's, but they're stopping on the way home, and you don't know what's in these foods a lot of times.
Right.
So what's the main message you would give to your children?
Well, I have a 14-year-old, and I just tell him to eat real food. Your body and your taste buds never forget that, right? So just do the best that you can in knowing how to discern what real food is and what it can do for you. And honestly, let that be the guide. Again, is how developing that intuition in our children. And of course, these marketing campaigns are targeting our children with a vengeance.
Yes, they are.
So again, having that internal, knowing about what is real and what is not. Because you can't sell me on a fast food burger versus Mama's Burger, because Mama's Burger is gonna taste amazing, and it's gonna a day later help me to feel good. This is just checking in with yourself. You eat this food and see how you feel. That's always the message. Eat it, see how you feel.
A lot of African Americans are dealing with things like diabetes, where you can't have certain amounts of sugars and things like that. How do you deal with someone who's got a chronic illness in your nutrition? What's the link between staying healthy and your nutrition when it comes to conditions like diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity?
Yeah. I mean, nutrition is key with these various diagnoses. For me, I see food as medicine. It's not only a cultural link. It's not only, you know, important to stay connected with my ancestors, but food for me is medicine first and foremost, because when I'm eating it, it's going to affect everything in my body, from my mood, you know, how my organs feel. Food is broken down into the components to make our blood. So if a person is coming to me with diabetes, for instance, I'm going to make sure that we're speaking about appropriate fats in good amounts. We're going to talk about the appropriate complex carbohydrates, talk about hydration, movement, everything. And really that's how nutrition should be, is very focused and tailored to your specific need, whether you have a chronic illness or not. Food is medicine.
Now, you also deal with a lot of veterans in your practice. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I'm an acupuncturist at Advanced Integrative Health Group, and through the Optimum Care Health Network, we are treating veterans who, you know, have served our country, and they are coming with various chronic illnesses. Number one, just chronic pain being key. And of course we have this crisis, this opioid crisis. So acupuncture is an amazing therapy for pain management. I'm treating.
How does it work?
Well, yeah, the way it works is we are treating patients with acupuncture needles. We're working with the body's energetic channels, and these energetic channels, they have an ability to basically stimulate our pain management system that we all have. So when we put a needle in, it's sending a message to the body to like clear stagnation that could be causing that pain, or to improve an organ function. It is amazing. It works on a body, mind, and spirit level.
What has the success been? What success stories can you tell about?
Oh, wow. So, man, it's so rewarding. So, beyond the veteran population, I have patients that come in with women's health issues, specifically PMS or PMDD, like having very hard emotional time with the period, with excessive crying and, you know, intense cramps and things like this. So acupuncture is amazing for women's health. So my one patient, she unfortunately was suicidal, and, you know, her periods just really had a hard toll on her emotionally. She says that acupuncture was the only thing that helped her come back to feeling at home in her body. She has 2 small children, a husband, and she just said, I just don't feel like myself 2 whole weeks out of the month. And so she now comes to me proactively, and she's always like, well, this is the period I'm supposed to be in PMDD. And so I'm coming to you just to make sure I'm staying ahead of it. And her mood is stable. She's there for her children in a more authentic way. So stories like that is just amazing, because, you know, the mental health crisis, again, that we're facing, just people are not just.
And people are searching for ways to deal with it, and they're going, and sometimes you run across things that are not good for you, that are not holistic, in order to help with those mental health issues. And sometimes it backfires, makes it worse.
Right. So I love that acupuncture is really, the medicine is us. People ask me, are you putting something in the needle? And I'm saying, no, I'm actually stimulating your own energetic system. I'm activating a point in your body that has this function to, you know, help you to feel calm, or help to, you know, increase endorphin production. So it's us, you know, that I'm working with. I'm not working with anything else other than the body's potential for healing. And that's amazing.
Is it an individual thing as far as how often you have to come, or is it a standard?
It is an individual thing. I would say for the veteran that's coming in with 10 out of 10 knee pain and back pain, he's going to have to come most likely 2 or 3 times a week as opposed to a weekly basis. With pain, you want to get ahead of it. So yeah, so we can bring that pain level down from 10 to 3, and treatment will last most times for 4 to 5 days. And so I tell the patient on that 4th day, come back. Because if you wait too long, it's like we're kind of starting from square one. Acupuncture has a cumulative effect on the body, right? It's like feeding coal, to a furnace. You want to just get it stronger. And so those needles are like that constant message to say, okay, let's go, let's heal. Because the body has the capacity to heal itself. But what we're doing with the needles is helping the body to remember, yes, you can do this, let's do it. So.
And does it hurt?
Oh. Oh yeah, of course that's the question. These needles are thinner than a lock of hair. So it's not it's not a hypodermic needle, it's super thin. And you don't have pain receptors really beyond the layer of the skin. So it only at most you may feel a little prick, if anything at all. Yeah.
And I've had it done.
Yeah, so
several times, but I know that's what other people. Does that hurt?
Right. Yeah, I mean, some areas are more sensitive than others. Say like the ears versus your hip, right? Hip less sensitive because you have more adipose tissue there. Yeah.
So we've got a minute left. Is there anything that you would like to tell folks about Oriental medicine and how integrative medicine it is becoming the thing?
Yeah.
It has become so popular now. So what would you say to encourage people to maybe take a look at it?
Yeah, I would say we just have so much at our disposal right now. As a society, we have thousands of years of holistic knowledge. We have all the great technology of our current system. So let's just bring the best of both worlds together to serve our highest good.
And I just want to let everybody know you're a doctor of Oriental medicine, but you did this during the COVID crisis.
Yes, I did.
So this is one bad system.
Thank you.
Because you had been doing this for years, but you decided you wanted to take the journey further.
Yes.
And the fact that you did this, especially during a time of crisis, that says a lot about who you are and what your mission is.
Thank you. Yes, I'm very stubborn.
And raising a child at the same time as you were doing this.
Yes, and just facing, just so much challenge during that time. I mean, so I just saw Dr. Madea Allen. I saw myself running to the finish line, and when those hard moments came, I just saw it coming. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Madea Allen, who is a doctor of Oriental medicine. So glad that you could make it this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. You've been watching the Sisters for Fitness Wellness Show. I'm Stephanie Gaines-Bryant. Have a great day.